When you don't let the truth have its day, the truth finds other ways to come out. Alan Dershowitz. If you're not familiar with that name, that was Epstein's attorney. And now he's come forward with a whole slew of information on the Epstein Files because, according to him, he's seen them and he knows that the Trump DOJ is intentionally suppressing information, as well as he knows names on the list. Take a listen to what he said early yesterday morning.
This is not an opinion. This is a fact. I have seen, remember, I was accused falsely on the Epstein, and ultimately I was completely cleared. The woman admitted that she may have mistook me for somebody else and withdrew all of her lawsuits. And so from day one, from the day I was accused, I said I want every document out because I knew every document would prove I was innocent. So let me tell you, I know for a fact documents are being suppressed. And they're being suppressed to protect individuals. I know the names of the individuals. I know why they're being suppressed. I know who's suppressing them, but I'm bound by confidentiality from a judge and cases, and I can't disclose what I know. But I hand to God, I know the names of people whose files are being suppressed in order to protect them, and that's wrong.
Just out of curiosity, without names, are these politicians, business leaders, both?
They're everything. And let me tell you, a lot of them are at least one of them is somebody who was accused. Others are accusers. And the judges have said, if somebody calls themselves a victim, we're not going to give any information about them. But they may not be victims. They may be perpetrators. So we don't have information about false accusers. And we know there have been many false accusers who have accused innocent people for money. And those records are being deliberately, willfully suppressed. And they shouldn't be suppressed. If the accusation is allowed out, so should the material that diminishes the credibility of the accuser. We want total transparency on this. Every single document, no redaction. That's what I've said from day one. I waive any of my rights of privacy. Anything there is about me, I'm happy because it will be exculpatory, because I know I haven't touched a woman other than my wife from the day I met Jeffrey Epstein. I don't even hug people, but I was falsely accused and I was able to prove it. And I was able to prove it through documents. And I want other people to be able to disprove false accusations through documents. But these documents are being suppressed and withheld.
There you have it. A few points to take away from that. First and foremost, like he said, what they're going by, these courts and the justice system, it seems, they're basically just going off of the word of mouth. They're taking people at their word if they're on the list, apparently is how the investigations were conducted. He flat out said, if he's to be believed, that if their name appears in these files, they're asked about it. And if they claim to be a victim, that is how they get their name classified into anonymity. So it's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous process. What are they even doing at that point? If it's just, oh, you were a victim, no problem. We'll never release your name then. And then for the ones who are accused, now all of a sudden it's a big problem. And it's essentially a blackmail list then that's turned into a secondhand blackmail list where people are just taking advantage of the unknown and accusing other people of being on it and then taking possible payouts for them to stop accusing that person of being on it. Absolutely absurd. The other thing that's absurd is think about the position that this lawyer is in. He was Epstein's lawyer, and so under penalty of, what would that even be, perjury? I'm not even sure. He's not allowed to talk about what he saw. Can you imagine that? How does that work? Because what he saw hasn't been properly disclosed, investigated, and names on the list that should be investigated and prosecuted haven't been. So he has seen, almost certainly, he has seen criminals on that list who are facing no punishment, and he's not allowed to talk about that? Because otherwise he could get in trouble? That's a weird position to find yourself in, isn't it? And then finally, my final thought on it when it comes to him is, I hope he's got protection. I hope he's got some sort of defense system, security, something that are heavily vetted, because this is not good. I appreciate what he's trying to do here. If he's to be believed, he was Epstein's attorney. And for the record, this is not the first time he's been spoken about the Epstein Files. He's not just taking advantage of the current predicament to gain publicity for himself. I have found footage of him speaking about it in the past already on the Megyn Kelly show a few months ago even, and he's been outspoken about the files pretty much for a while. So he seems to be pretty genuine about it, and he's somebody who knows a lot. And this is the problem when you don't tell the truth in your administration, the Trump Department of Justice. They're trying to suppress information that others have seen, and all these people are alive. And so this is a big issue. And, he's not the only one that possibly knows all this information. You know who else does? This is Ghislaine Maxwell giving a prison interview. She no doubt knows quite a bit about Jeffrey, and she's still alive in her cell.
Maxwell admits meeting Jeffrey Epstein was the biggest mistake of her life, but she is convinced his death was not as it seems.
I believe that he was murdered. Well, I was shocked. And I wondered how it had happened. Because as far as I was concerned, he was going to... I was sure he was going to appeal. And I was sure that he was covered under the non-prosecution agreement. But I wasn't in the indictment. So I wasn't mentioned. I wasn't even one of the co-conspirators. I obviously wish I'd never met him.
And you know who else has information on this? Jurors, some judges, and definitely the victims. So people are out there, and people know the truth. All it takes is for more and more of them to develop the courage to come forward and speak about it. And that very likely could wind up happening. So the Trump Department of Justice is playing a very dangerous game right now. They're either telling 100% of the truth, and it's just so unbelievable that it's not being received by the population at all because nobody out here, including myself, is buying it, or they've been incredibly deceptive and dishonest, and they're blatantly hiding and suppressing information, and they're going to get found out. It's only a matter of time. But what are your thoughts and opinions? First of all, give this video a like if you want the Epstein list to come out. Dislike the video if you don't want it to come out because you love Bill Clinton and you want to keep him safe. Subscribe also to American Advocates and let me know how you're feeling about all this down in the comments below. Are people going to start coming forward with information? Thanks for watching.